Good evening, sir.
Good afternoon. What time we should start?
Yes, sir. A warm afternoon to one and all present here. I like to welcome our principal, ma'am, Dr. M. Makila, and then I would like to welcome our chief guest, Mr. Biju GT sir. Next, I would call upon Lokesh Kumar, one of our executive member, to deliver the welcome address.
Very good afternoon, one and all gathered here. On this occasion, I would like to welcome you all for webinar on ham radio and internet radio. It's our pleasure to welcome our chief guest, Mr. Biju GT. To be inspired is great, but to be inspiration is honor. He is hardware technology guy with over 20 years of experience in entrepreneurship, management, innovative business planning, financial analysis, software engineering, operation, and decision analysis. He has also worked as a senior project management consultant to the digital security industry in Switzerland. Currently, he is setting up a Internet of Things based business in India and UK. Released many innovative Internet of Things product and platform to market in the last year. I welcome all dignitaries present here. It's a glad welcome we bring to you this afternoon, filled with desire, hopes, and dreams we all share. Once again, I welcome all to this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Lokesh. Now, I would like to hand over the session to our chief guest, Mr. Biju GT. The session is yours, sir.
Very good evening to you all, and I'm Biju. As the previous presenters, I'm a technology guy and working in the Internet of Things industry. That's my core area of business. And apart from that, I like ham radio communication, and I'm holding a call sign VU2HBI. That is my radio call sign. And today I'm going to present something related to how we combine in the normal radio communication technologies with the internet and related things which we can use for disaster management as a hobby or as a service. So for that, and we have to promote the kind of communication as well as a hobby of the radio hobby. We have started a small organization to promote scientific research as well as radio communication back 2 years back in Kerala. And that's called ActiveHam, Amateur Radio Society. And the second year, we are starting the Radio Astronomy Society also here. So this is one of the first things. We combined the internet as well as radio astronomy and the communication. So first, let me demonstrate something which is quite interesting, which I have created for the ActiveHam presentation, which I will extract few topics from the presentation to you. Let me present something. So this is basically I'm start from the science society which I have founded 2 years back, and this is one of the initial starting of a small amateur radio club which moved into different dimensions of the technology with the humble help of the amateurs or amateur radio operators around the globe. So initially, when you think what is the connection with an amateur radio society, and the amateur radio society or a radio communication society or a ham radio club, which can grow into multiple dimensions with the interested people or the people who are really good enough to manage technology, electronics, and software, we can grow to multiple dimensions. So this is one of the best examples for what we have created and what we have now with the radio communication as a hobby, to a service, to innovation. So this is the name of the things ActiveHam Amateur Radio Society, and I am the founder for the one. And in 1996, I have started one GNU new Linux club long time back. It was quite early in that time in India to start a Linux club. But fortunately or unfortunately, I mean, the people don't have that much idea during that time to promote the Linux as an operating system for alternative to proprietary operating system, which was available that day. And now it is the right time to start this kind of scientific research society for everybody, as like what you have in your college, the same thing you have everywhere in and around Tamil Nadu and all over India. This kind of small club, which we can create wonderful projects and products, as well as we can do some services. So let me go to the direct one. So we have some founders and as well as the patron, and he's our patron for the society. He's Om Srivastava. And he's actually started a long time back, and he created the policies for the Ministry of Communications and the community radio. And we are all the members. I mean, so very simple people from 85 years old VU2HBI, Rajashekar and I, to 14 years old kids are there in our society or the research society. And the people from different dimensions, and from the university research people to the technology expert, scientists, and many people are in the society. So why I'm telling the organization structure is that when you want to create something different, you should have a different type of people and have to present something. They have to have an idea to present. They have an idea to form. For that, so this is what I'm telling about the basic five ideas. So in any technology or scientific innovation research group, we need this kind of 5 different areas. So we start from the school level to the business level or to the industry level. For that, we have started from the school and college radio club. We assist the people to start radio clubs. We assist the college to start club, as well as we help them to promote different events. And the next one is the radio technology research group, or the new technology research group within the society, which you are forming inside a school or a college or a part of your club. And the third one is for the wonderful technology, you can do some rescue services, as well as you can do the community back in Kerala. As well as we combine this technology with mathematics and free open source softwares. So we conduct regular training in open source, especially free and open source software, which is closely or tightly related with the amateur radio or radio communication or radio astronomy, and some little bit of hardware. So first of all, I will give you a small introduction about the ham radio. What is exactly ham radio or amateur radio? As you know that we don't need much introduction, because everybody know about that one. And what we can do is we can promote this hobby to the next level and combine the people, electronics, and communication together. So once you are into this hobby, and you gradually learn many things, you learn mathematics, you learn electronics, you learn softwares, you learn communication, you learn the radio propagation and the wave propagation, and many things. For that, I mean, any society, when we start, we will start with a small 1 or 2 radio or a radio transceiver, and which the people are really attracted to the handheld devices, or we commonly called walkie-talkies. So once you are a licensed ham radio operator and you can hold this kind of walkie-talkies and you can communicate, that's the initial start of a ham radio operator. From there, the journey start to the next level of combine the digital technologies, to bringing the digital technologies, the internet to your radio, connecting your radio to the internet, communicating to the different one. So that's also we can do. And next, the advantage is you are connecting when you have a disaster in your society, you are doing some charity services, social services with your. When everything fails, the ham can communicate. That's a common saying about ham radio operator. So you can, within a short span of time, we can set up the radio or the communication facilities, and we can assist in communication, which is recently the last one what we have provided in one of the landslide happens in a couple of months back in Kerala, Idiki, and we were very active, and we provided the communication support and linked the entire fire force team of Kerala to with the ham radio, and the communication was really easy and manageable, even in a very big disaster. So these are some old pictures of what we have done. And next things, the other ways, the basic things, everybody know that what is basically thing. And apart from that, we can do many things in the ham radio communication. For example, normally we communicate with the voice. And the second things, normally we can send text. And just like if you want to send an SMS message, we can do that to radio. And third things, we can send pictures, just like how you send pictures in WhatsApp, or how we forward message to WhatsApp. Imagine a situation where there is no internet, and then how do you communicate? So you need this kind of technology which is closed. It's not a closed one. It's an open. It's an open technology. Anybody can access with the help of the open hardware and open software, open source software, as well as a little bit of ham radio and different mode. And different modulation, you need to send text messages. You need to send pictures, you can do that one. Even you can send the videos. So these are the very simple things, especially the people who have a little bit of electronics, they will understand what I'm telling this now. So this is the initial start of the digital data industry, what you have to do. So this is the same way you are getting pictures from the Mars, and you are getting pictures from the International Space Stations. So when we do it, it's very interesting. So we can easily transmit a picture from one location to another location with a handheld radio. Even if you don't have the sophisticated modems or any other equipment, with the help of some decoders, which is freely available in this time. For example, Robot 36 is one of the small application. We can directly decode any modulated messages in videos, audios to your mobile phone, which is wirelessly transmitted. You just need to hold the mic, switch on that one, hold it near to a sound source. It's a speaker to output of a microphone, a radio, or a radio transceiver. So these are the things we can learn. And that many people think need to learn. Why do we have to learn the Morse code? So Morse code is basically, it's the first kind of digital communication, we can say like that. Actually, it is not digital. So it was the initial way of communication. So it's fundamental. Everything starts from the Morse code, because we are converting every letter to dot and dash. So we can represent it in a different way. And still even the international communication, from the remote space communication, even from the very advanced spacecrafts, still use as the Morse code messages as a backup communication. Backup communication means not for the emergency communication. For example, the black box. For example, the lunar rover, which can send the CW waves back to Earth. So if anybody wants to start anything, you can grab the code, scan the QR code, and it will produce some ASOC examination details, that is the one we need to become a ham radio operator in India. So this QR code will help you to find the right documents, or the manuals, or the worksheet, all the books which is required, digitally available, which I have published online to become a ham radio operator. So this is one you can scan or take the photograph of this one and scan later. And second thing, how a ham radio station look like. So this is a medium entry-level radio station. And outside of a house, you can see multiple antennas. And inside, you can see a couple of radio transceiver, which are really not advanced, which are entry-level professional radios, what you have seen here, which is directly connected to modern internet technologies. So a ham radio station nowadays, which is well occupied, with latest internet and digital equipment for the proper communication. So the other use, you can use the radios inside your car, your vehicle. So why, if you ask to any ham, they will tell you different stories why he liked the ham radios, and these are the different things which I have put just to promote the one, and we will go to the real thing. So first of all, we have to start to promote the hobby, or to be into the hobby. You have to start an academic amateur radio club, what you have in KPI College now. So the same thing is the first things to become a ham radio operator. And once you started this what kind of things, and you will get a lot of, you don't start in a high posh areas or to the high-end schools. You have to select the village schools to promote this kind of things. Select them, and they will be very interested, and they will be very happy. And these are our activities which we have conducted a long time back in different schools, and we have academic amateur radio clubs. So the same concept you can create in your areas. Find a remote schools which they don't have any facilities, and bring them and familiarize with them to the International Space Station by grabbing an image, your handheld radio, and display to them and show to them, this is what you have received from International Space Station. The people will be very happy to see this kind of activities. So this is one of the activity which we have conducted in one of the remote schools, remote areas back in Kerala. So the other things, when you are really going to the little bit of technology, how you integrate it. For example, you can, for weather forecasting, you can do that one. And how the RF propagation is happening, that you can learn that one. But what I'm telling is not the RF propagation. You have to find, you're learning the atmospheric properties, how the wave propagates in different climate conditions. So those things we can baseline, and you can store it for a future reference. For example, I'll tell you why I'm telling this one. Initially, we have participated in one of the disaster activities back in Tamil Nadu. At that time, the Gaja cyclone was there, and there was no radio propagation map anywhere in India, except the top-level military or other thing, except those people. As imagine something happened, and you have wireless, you have emergency radio communication equipment, you have ham radio operator and everything. And the people will decide to start rescue centers or some shelter centers or emergency control centers in your district or district headquarters. But unfortunately, this district headquarters is not suitable to receive radio signals. So you have to learn how the radio propagate, what are the optimal locations for a radio propagation. Either you can learn this one two way. Either you have to go with your radio in different hill stations and different buildings, and you have to help up multiple 2, 3, 4, 5 people. So you have to get the report. How is my radio is propagating? How is my signals reaching? So the same thing you can digitize in the nowadays. You don't need to go to the hill station to find how my radio propagates. You can use the different softwares. You can use open source software like Splats, or there are too many point-to-point propagation analysis tools are available in open source, especially in the Linux software. You have to download and set up and create a map of radio propagation map of your districts. Okay, for example, if anything happened, you can easily identify that which area is best suitable for radio communication. So the district authority don't have to worry about just identifying the best location to set up a radio control room during a disaster. So these things we can this is the extra things we can conduct, we can learn, or we can train our associates or the ham radio operators or a ham radio club in your schools or at college. And the next thing is the wireless technology you can do for different things, just like a STEM education is very common for everywhere, and globally it's accepted one. science, technology, engineering, maths. It's a basic concept which we are implementing all over the world. So as a part of this one, we can you can create communication devices, practical experience with the radio frequency construction and measurement equipments, and many things you can start with the help of a radio operator. And for this, I mean, you have to learn a little bit of different modulations, which has once you are into this radio, once you are into the radio communications, and you'll easily learn one by one. Or the best thing is what I suggest you to go to on some online radios, especially WebSDRs. WebSDRs are doing, they're collecting the local radio signals and transmitting through the web, and anybody can access, just like how we are going through the YouTube, and you can listen to what is in the one, and you will get all the mode, which, for example, PSK 31, PSK 8, and RTTY, and radio tele, any mode you can receive. And when you receive it, you will hear a different, you'll hear a very strange noises, and there are softwares there. Even you can use your smartphone or any entry-level Android or entry-level Android phone or any smartphone which can use. You can install, you can download about 36 kind of programs which easily decode the anonymous sounds or strange sound into your data. So these things we easily learn. Even if you don't need a license, you can learn these things. Initially go into the digital mode. So nowadays what happened is, the olden days, the people are traditionally come to the analog, from analog communication to digital communication. And they are facing a little bit of trouble in understanding in the latest software radio concept and digital different modes. And so to familiarize with as a new technology, you can easily directly go to WebSDR, different WebSDR.org, so that the site, then where you can globally you can find the different stations which receive the radio signal and transmit through the internet. So you can listen just like a remote online radio stations, which is commercially available. And the advantage, you can tune to any frequencies, and you can just click and drag to any frequencies and different mode. So once you are familiar with this one, and you know how to adjust the sound qualities, wave propagation, and the modulations, and a little bit of noise cancelling, everything you will learn online. Then you can gradually go to the entry-level amateur radio operations in digital mode. And these are the different modes, there are hundreds of modes available. And if you are really interested, you can create your own mode. That's what we are doing now for one of the disaster management communication. It's called duck link protocol. It's a cluster. We created different autonomous wireless communication units, which is kind of a mesh networking with the different one. And we can easily communicate this one. And the other one, and we can have digital protocols and modes and development. We can have our own development. We can have, if you are unfamiliar with the basic things, we can create our own modes. For example, if you want to transmit a password protected file through the wireless radio, you can create that one. And you have to depend the key also you can send to the radio. And the data also you can send to the radio. The other end you can decode and decrypt the file which you have sent. So those things we can create if you are really interested. And this is one of the, if you want, you are really interested, you can buy this book. It's one of the best books which I have gone through, this one, which give you the very basic things. Even you will get the soft copies, the PDF copies in online. You don't need that book. Okay. And next thing, the next thing you need to, when you say the communication, the best things you are sending the materials or your data through air or to atmosphere. So you need to understand what is the best, how to design the best antennas for a proper communication. So you have to learn how to design antennas, how the reception, how the antennas help you to in a better reception. Those things you have to learn. And what you have seen is the different antennas, which is quite common to very, very well known to all the ham radio people. and hundreds of type of antennas even you can build. Nobody, even a ham radio operator, they won't buy the commercial antenna. They directly go and build their own antenna. That's what we do. And these are the related, some antenna related technology, how you can, what are the things you have to take care of to when you connect a wire to your antenna from your radio to antenna. Many things you have to learn. And also some research studies. You can combine your, when you, for example, when you are in the olden days, you have AM and shortwave radios. But nowadays we have hundreds of modes, and that is not fit into a small old analog radios. So you have to learn what is bands and what are the bands or what are the mode we are allowed to transmit in India. As a ham radio operator, what you have seen is the amateur radio band plan in India. So we have different, for example, 14 megahertz, we say 20 meters. That's depend on the wavelength. We say either we say in the wavelength or in the frequencies. So these are the, for example, 70 centimeter, 420 megahertz. There are free band, open bands. You don't need a license to use radios. You can buy from online and you can start communicating with the radio. And these are the band plan allowed in India. And also along with the band plan, you have the kind of emission, what kind of emission and the type of emissions that you have to be careful with the when you design your own equipment or if you use a commercial equipment. So these are some technical steps. I'm not going deep in that one. So for example, these are the band. The Ministry of Communication has allotted, we can say, $1 million. Commercially, if you buy all these bands, you have to pay $1 million for to buy all the things. So you can do experiments. I'll tell you again very strongly. I'm telling you, you can do the license which is giving not for the voice communication. You can create, you can develop experimental stations, experimental tools, and so you can do any experiment in this one, in these frequencies. For example, you have this much frequencies from 1.8 megahertz to 5,840 megahertz. Up to this one, you can use. You can do many experiments as you wish. And also, next things, once you are familiar with all the things, you can explore the universe with the radio astronomy. So once you are very familiar with how the radio propagation is happening in and around your globe, next things you have to receive the data from the outside, or the interstellar spaces, or from the other universe. You can do that one. For example, you have to start with the solar data analysis. For example, you can learn the radio. You can learn things. You can connect SolarPi, some Python application, some SunPi is one of the applications which we are using to decode the solar radiation, solar transmission, what is happening inside the suns. So those things are, if you are interested, you can receive and you can decode and you can get the data. So these are the things what we can do in different as a radio operator or without radio. And next interesting thing is the satellite communication. It's a bit advanced one. I'm not directly going to this one. And because as a ham radio operator, once you're familiar with once you are into the field, there are a lot of hundreds of dozens of satellites which are freely available. You can access, you can communicate worldwide with the help of a satellite. 5 watt you can communicate. So there are many satellites which are available. You can communicate. And I'm not going to that one. So that is radio satellite. I'm not going to demonstrate the satellite communication here. So for a satellite communication, you need a little bit of equipment. For example, you need a full duplex and you have to know a little bit of technology side, and these are the basic radios we need to communicate. These are the basic radios which I have given a list in the left side, and the right side you have seen the pictures. So other thing is the antennas. So you need to, when you communicate with the satellite is a moving object. So you need an antenna which have to find the satellite location with the help of some single board computers. We can develop something and some rotators. The antenna will then manually rotate based on the satellite locations, and you can do communication. And in most cases, what we do is most of the time we are doing. Most of the time, uplink should be in VHF and downlink should be in VHF. So we need a two type of antenna, what I have shown in this pictures right here. And another thing is related to technology. It's very easy for them. There are a lot of Android applications, satellites, and once you are into that, I'm glad we can easily learn that one. So I'm not going to deep into the satellite communication. I will. Next one, what I'm going to tell you is as a service of the society, what we can do in the service. These are the we are all the you can take the training from the local nearby Red Cross or some other doctors community or from the Fire Force or who are providing free service or a paid service. So what we have taken all the amateur radio operators have taken service, training from the Fire and Rescue Forces in Kerala. So everybody is managed to, at least they can manage a CPR operations during an emergency. So these are how the community rescue volunteers, and this is during long time back in 2018, we have some issue in Kerala flood. And you can set up a point-to-point communication. Create the digital map, create the map. Map means the data of these are the buildings, these are the locations, we can do the communication. And we need even if you are in as a part of disaster mitigation, you can ask the district authority to set up at least antennas into the highest areas. So they will set up once you tell them the ideas to these people, and they will set up they will be very happy to set up the antennas and everything, because they can use it as a disaster communication. And the local people have to take care of the service of the antenna and the equipment, even as a part of disaster mitigation, disaster management plan. Even they can possess even the government offices, like panchayat or the municipalities, corporation, they can buy ham radio equipments for the local communities during a disaster. They can use, and the same setup you can use as a club also, because you need a regular maintenance operations of the things. So you don't have